Oh yeah. What up, y'all? It's been a little bit, like a week. I think a week and a half. Um, had some health challenges. I'm not gonna go into detail, but you know, sometimes you got to just listen to your body and fall back. Uh, but I am feeling better, so I'm trying to figure out right now where I want to actually take this walk. I think I think I'll go up the hill near the school. Um, so this might be a long one. Uh, but yeah. Um, hope everybody's been good. I've been I've been all right. Um, life is challenging. Uh, one of the things that I'm kind of noticing in my life, man, as I get older, is a lot of the stuff that my father went through. I see that stuff like repeating in my life. From early age, drugs and alcohol, uh, relationships, and all that stuff. Man, I see that stuff repeating in my life. And the crazy part about it is, I never even really knew Homeboy. So I find that interesting. I find that interesting how all those things can tie together. Um, and I see a lot of that stuff playing out. And the cool thing about it is when you have awareness, just in the sense of being present to the things that happen in your life, right? Like not just kind of spiraling in the aspect of letting things happen. Oh, I don't know why this is happening, but kind of just being like taking a look at it, right, and saying, okay, well, I like this, this, and this. I'm not sure I like this, this, and this. Let's let that play out. Cool. Actually, I don't like this and this, so I'm not gonna let that be a part of my. Actually, I'm gonna go this way. I'm gonna go the other way. It's gonna be loud on that main road. So anyway, the awareness portion of it is just saying, okay, well, we're going down this road. I'm not really sure. I I think I can see down that road, and it looked like it's a dog down there off the leash. I don't want to risk that because somebody I know walked down this same road and they told me they got bit by a dog that was off the leash. And so that's what I mean when I speak about awareness. Is just like seeing the patterns sort of unfolding and then choosing to not participate in those anymore. Um, and again, this is like it's an age thing because, and I mean this not to um downplay or step on younger people. I I mean it by when you've lived a little bit, you have decades of life to look back on and decisions to look back on so you can weigh yourself. Okay, this worked, this didn't work. That's all I mean. Um, youth has its own advantages that as you get older, those same advantages aren't there. So, we need each other just as far as experience goes. Um, so anyway, a lot of that stuff has been kind of happening in my life recently. So that's been interesting, and it's been interesting. uh, a lot of the stuff that has to do. Oh yeah, before I go any further, I know I always say I'm not going to talk about politics, and I'm probably going to talk about politics today on this walk if I remember, because I see a lot of things, and I don't know. I'm concerned. I just get concerned with how we disseminate information. I'll never talk about the choices people should or shouldn't make because I don't think that's my right to do that. Um, but anyway, we'll get there when we get there. So yeah, uh, the stuff with relationships that I see happening in my life is I really when I mean relationships, I don't just mean romantic. Obviously that's part of it, but I mean in general, friends, family, all that kind of stuff. Um somebody asked me the other day, she asked me, she's like, "Do you cry?" And it's funny cuz I don't. Um and the reason I gave her was a true reason. You know, I don't really see a reason to cry personally, unless there's like a obviously a emotionally tragic event, right? Um, but I even with those, you know, I haven't. I think the last time I actually cried for real was I was in therapy. Maybe I don't know, man. How long was that? Maybe like 7 years ago. Maybe yeah, 7 years ago. I was in therapy and some tears was flowing. Um, I joke around sometimes about thug tears. Uh, that's like, you know, when you see something on the internet, like a baby or something, they shed some thug tears. But actual crying, yeah, probably about 7 years ago. Before that, 15 years ago. It's not something I do for an emotional release or anything like that. Um, and I've always kind of been that way. The way my brain works to solve problems. Well, the way my brain works is I'm always in problem solving mode, which means I'm I'm always trying to find the logic in things. Uh, I don't think the way I handle things is better or worse than anybody. This is just me. So my brain is always like trying to find the logic and reason behind things, and crying, I could never find a reason for that from a logic standpoint. As far as okay, there's this thing that happened. I don't like this outcome. I want to make sure this never happens again. How do I go about doing that? And for me, no knock on anybody else. For me, crying was never part of that equation. Um, and maybe it's because I had trauma from when I was a kid, man. I remember I probably the first actual traumatic event as far as like somebody dying, I think was probably my grandfather. Um, and you know, even with that, man, I was so young. Yeah, I don't know what's going. I don't know what's going on, bro. Like that's what I think you don't really know what's going on. You know, you're like 10 years old. You one day you're with this person, and then the next day you're not, and you know everybody's going crazy around you. I probably got numb, desensitized, to be honest with you. Like I don't really know, but you know, um, I think the people around me kind of wanted to shield me from the emotions regarding all that stuff. So anyway, I brought that up all just to say, like, crying isn't really part of my repertoire when it comes to this human thing. Um, if anything, though, I will say when I did cry during therapy, there was a reason behind that, and it kind of opened my eyes up to that reason, and it changed a lot. So Obviously, there's some benefit just with regards to when you're having a conversation and if something is affecting you emotionally that bad that you didn't even really know. Well, now you know, and you have the tools to go ahead and go ahead and handle that. So again, I'm not knocking anything. I'm just saying this how I handle things, how I've kind of always handled things, good, bad, or indifferent. So yeah, a lot of that stuff came up over the last week and a half. Um, not all of it good, not all of it bad. Again, life's kind of like the way I kind of approach life in general is I just try to stay in the middle and not get too high, not get too low, just stay in the middle. And it doesn't mean that things don't go good and I'm not happy. I'm definitely get happy and I definitely get sad, but I just don't. Man, this thing is like a pendulum, bro. It's gonna swing. It's gonna swing either way, and I just try very hard to stay balanced with regards to that swinging. I do strive very hard to stay balanced for sure. Uh, so yeah, that's why I'm kind of the way that I am. Um, so yeah, let's get into this politics conversation, right? I don't think the conversation is really about politics. Like the core of the conversation isn't about politics. The core of the conversation is really the words. What words do I want to use? I think politics is a metaphor for how we see the impact and control that we have in our lives and the lives of the people around us. And I think that gets used to sway people to make specific decisions. My concern, oh man, this is gonna get crazy. This is gonna get crazy. Okay, so hello. Good morning. Good morning. So I guess let's just start at the beginning. This is all things that, you know, hopefully. Oh, before I start, again, I just want to say I'll never suggest, intimate, fight for a specific group or individual for people to vote for or anything like that. I don't. So that's not what this is. I'm just using politics as the foundation to have a broader conversation about responsibility. Because I think that's what this is all about at the core. The responsibility that was bestowed, didn't think I'd use that word this morning. The responsibility that was bestowed upon each and every individual in this country, America, in order to ensure the checks and balances of the people who are chosen, keyword there, chosen to represent the people at the varying branches of government. I know that might have sounded like a word salad. It was not, I promise. I chose those words specifically, so if you need to go back, go back. Because it's very important. Here comes a garbage truck, so give me a second. All right. So, like I said, if you need to go back and listen to that again 2 or 3 times to understand what I was, the foundation I'm laying for this conversation, please do that because this isn't entertainment. Um, so please go do that. So I'm not gonna patronize anybody and talk about the branches of government or anything like that. Y'all are adults, hopefully. If you're not, please go do your research. But the power that was given to people in this country is to put in office, aka vote for people to shepherd their communities and then up through the branches of government. And what I believe that's been happening over the last, okay, I'm 43, let's call it 25 years. No, let's call it 30 years. What I believe to has been happening over the last 30 years is that responsibility has been interrupted or shrouded with entertainment as being the number one focus in people's lives. Getting money, entertainment, having fun, whatever it is, and the responsibility to make sure the character, which is right, the character of people who are being chosen to these different levels of government isn't in question. Um, and what ends up happening in a lot of cases is people get voted in because, in general, people don't vote. The majority of people in this country do not vote. And I'm not talking about just federal, I'm talking about locally. So what ends up happening is it becomes a good old boys club in the essence of once you're in there, you're in there. And the people that may challenge you for that seat, they can gain a little bit of support, but it's not on the top of most people's minds that that's a responsibility that is given to them. And so these very unqualified, well, I don't want to say that. What I will say is these people with questionable character attributes are moving up and up and up and up until one day, the next thing you know, they're being considered for jobs they are absolutely not qualified for, which means they're not making the decisions other people are, and that you don't know, and you're supposed to know, because that's our responsibility. Because everyone, from judges to mayors to senators, they all work for us. Like they all work for us. So you want to make sure that how they get the people that get those jobs are qualified to do them. They have the right skill set to do them at a very high level. Doesn't mean people aren't going to make mistakes, but when they make mistakes, the people are supposed to hold them accountable for those mistakes that they make. So anyway, again, I don't want to patronize anybody, but what's happening, we're in politics season. So a lot of stuff is happening right now, right? But what's happening is on a federal level, fear is the greatest Fear is a tool that has been used since the beginning of time to get people to make decisions. So what happens is when it's time to vote, people are going to lie, which is a terrible character trait. They're going to cheat, another terrible character trait. And they're going to make you fear one party, one person, or the other because they want to use that fear to make you make a decision. So, what do you do? I was thinking about this today as I was getting ready for this walk, put my shoes on. What does somebody do? Because it almost feels like, man, it's too late. You know, what you do is you find something that you truly believe in, like things that are core to your personal being, and you study and you learn as much about that as possible so that when it's time to make a decision, you're not cramming for the test right at the end, right? Oh, I gotta turn on the news channel so I can find out what's going on. Because as we know, these different platforms are designed to cater towards specific audiences. So it becomes sort of entertainment, right? You can get some, I'm walking up a hill, my breath's getting short, it's cool. So you can get some water cooler conversation talking points. You don't really know what's going on. You know what I mean? You don't really know how interest rates work or any of that. But what you can do is say, this person's bad, this person's good. Oh yeah, I hate this person. I love this person. This person's this person's that. Oh, what do you think about whatever? You know, it's like becomes entertainment. And again, me personally, I believe the only person, the only being that can solve any of man's problems is not man. We have thousands and thousands of years of evidence of that. It's God. So ultimately, that's what I believe. However, if I was a person that, and I am, a person that wanted to stay informed, make good decisions, understand my responsibility in the role that I'm playing in society, I would want to ensure that the decisions that I'm making are a sound mind. And in order to do that, you have to listen to both sides of an argument. You have to listen in order to make an informed decision. You have to listen to both sides of an argument. It can't just be one-sided, because when you're about to make a decision, for instance, this past couple of days, I haven't been feeling well, right? I wanted to go for a walk. My mind was like, go for a walk, go for a walk, go for a walk. I had to go get some medication, and dude, I'm standing in the store and I'm sweating. I can't breathe. I'm just standing. It's bad. I had to lean on this this medication rack. It was bad, right? So my mind is telling me, do this thing, do this thing, do this thing, do this thing. I have all this experience that I can look back on me doing this thing, doing this thing, doing this thing. But my body, the counter argument, is saying, nah, fam, you got to fall back. You got to chill. This is going to get bad if you don't chill. And it's the same thing with any type of argument. I feel this way. Cool. You feel that way. That's fine. Listen to the counter to that. And I don't mean put it up with hate and stuff like that, right? That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the basic listening to the counter argument, making sure that what you believe is truly what's right. You know, maybe I work in management. Everything that I come up with isn't right. I have great ideas. I think when I talk to the team who's in the trenches about some of the ideas, they're like, that's not really gonna work because of this, this, and this. I don't get mad. Oh man, you must hate me because you just don't want to listen to my ideas. That's not what this is about. It's about making sure that we all get to the best result, right? That's what it should be. We all get to the best result. And sometimes the best result isn't always what you want. Sometimes. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's not time for whatever that is that you want. Sometimes it is. And those conversations I think are what we miss because everything has become so sensationalized. It's like entertainment. You say one word and you start throwing out, words like racism and all that kind of stuff, and that generates emotion and fear out of people. And once that's happening, it's really hard to walk that kind of stuff back and have a rational discussion about life and how we should move, and things like that. So anyway, man, I didn't think I'll be talking for almost 30 minutes, but it's been kind of cool. I walked to. I'm not going to take a picture of where I am right now because I've taken this picture a million times. But I went ahead and walked to the view of the Golden Gate Bridge. It's super foggy. Hopefully this clears up at some point this afternoon. The sun comes out. That'd be awesome. But yeah, man, I hope y'all. One of the things I'll just end and say this. There's a responsibility that we all have to ensure and hold accountable the people that we choose to represent us. I think that's a good way to put it because that's not necessarily only politics, that's in general. You're saying, hey, this person represents me and this person's over here doing whatever, you have to hold them accountable regardless of if they're on your team or not. If somebody's lying, you have to say, hey, that's not true what you're saying. I don't care if I don't like the other side. I don't care. The truth is more important than how I feel. And that's a responsibility that everybody has in this country, well, in the world. That's a responsibility that everybody has. And I think that when we get towards, I know that I ask a lot. Somebody said to me the other day, man, you be asking for a lot out of people. I don't really think it's asking a lot, but I get why they said that to me. I know it's asking a lot because a lot of us have been trained to move this way. And it takes a lot to change a mindset, to change behavior, right? You see it in people all the time. They can't even go to the gym or work out regularly because that takes a lot to do, like insert new behavior. Anyway, I think that if it is looked at as a responsibility as opposed to like a secondary in life, then I think that kind of changes things a little bit. Me personally, I'm just trying to do my best to educate, inspire, motivate myself and others through action. Because I don't know any other way to lead. Uh, I've seen success in my leadership style in all areas of my life and in work, or I should say secularly, personally. I've seen success in my personal leadership style, and I know that my personal leadership style doesn't work across the board. However, the kind of person I am, I can't go to bed at night feeling good about myself if I didn't express my thoughts. And if it resonates with you, then that resonates with you. And then if it doesn't, it doesn't. Um, and I try very hard not to be preachy or whatever. I just think as we're getting older, man, and you see the stuff that's happening around, you can make things a little bit better for yourself and for the people around you if that's a focus, right? If you're only thinking about yourself, then not only you, the people around you are going to suffer, and they're not going to think about anything but themselves. And nobody thrives when everybody's selfish. And so, anyway, I'll say that. I'll leave it there. I hope everybody has an amazing day. I'm not sure when I'll be going on a walk next. Maybe tomorrow. I'm not sure. It depends how I feel when I wake up. But y'all be love. Peace.